My name is Natalie, and the moment I stepped into my house in Seattle, the world I thought I knew fell apart. It wasn't the overturned couch or the broken picture frames that stopped my heart. It was the silence. Thick, heavy, almost alive, like the air itself was holding its breath, waiting for me to realize what had happened. I just spent 3 long days at a corporate retreat in the Cascades. Fake smiles, team-building games, people pretending to care, only to return to a home that screamed betrayal. My hands trembled as I called Daniel, my husband, the man who promised I'd never face anything alone. 1 ring, 2, voicemail, of course. He was probably sitting comfortably at his mother's pristine Portland mansion, pretending not to know why I was calling. Daniel, someone broke into our house. The safe's open. Call me back. My voice cracked as I stepped over the mess. This wasn't a random robbery. The TV was still here, my jewelry untouched. Whoever came knew exactly what to take, the safe and the letters inside it, my grandmother's letters. The only real pieces of her I had left. Those faded pages were her voice, her memories, her warnings, and her story about the Carver case, the scandal that destroyed a man's name decades ago. That man was my mother-in-law's father. My phone buzzed. Not Daniel, Marcus, my coworker. How's the drive back? He texted. Someone broke into my house, I replied, hands shaking. They knew the safe code. Jesus, Natalie, are you okay? Want me to come over? No, I typed. I know who did this. I kicked a travel magazine across the floor. Meline's fingerprints were all over this, my mother-in-law. She'd been obsessed with those letters for months, ever since she overheard me mention them at dinner. She believed they proved my grandmother ruined her father's name, and Meline would burn the world before she let her perfect image crack. I walked into the kitchen. Cabinets hung open, contents scattered like confessions. This wasn't theft. It was a message. You don't belong in this family. I sank onto a stool, my thoughts spinning. Meline had hated me since the moment Daniel brought me to her mansion, her eyes cold, her words polite but cutting. She'd built a charity empire on reputation and control. And Daniel? He was her favorite project. Too loyal. Too afraid to stand up to her. I'd seen it on our wedding day, when she leaned in close and whispered, "You'll never be enough." Now this break-in was her final move to prove it. My phone buzzed again. Daniel. Where are you? I demanded. At Mom's, he said. Listen, Natalie, I can explain. Did you give her a key? The silence was all the answer I needed. She said she just wanted to grab some old photos while you were away. I didn't think. You didn't think. I cut him off, gripping a crumpled receipt I'd found on the floor. For a duplicate key, dated days ago. Those letters were my grandmother's, Daniel. The only thing I had left that was truly mine. We can talk when I get home. No, I said firmly. We'll talk now. I'm coming to Portland. Tell your mother to be ready. I hung up, my heartbeat pounding harder than ever, not from fear, but resolve. They thought they could control me, break me, make me one of their silent, obedient pawns, but they forgot who I came from. My grandmother taught me to protect what matters, to fight smart, not just angry. This wasn't just about old letters anymore. It was about taking back my life. When I pulled into Meline's perfect Portland estate, its shining windows mocked me. Every inch screamed perfection, a mask she'd worn for years. Inside, I faced her teacup steady, her smile sharp. I don't know what you're talking about, she said sweetly. Daniel gave me permission to look for family albums. Scarlett, her daughter, sat beside her, arms crossed, voice dripping with disdain. You're overreacting, Natalie. As usual, I placed the receipt on the table. Funny, you made a duplicate key days ago. Planning ahead? Meline's fingers twitched. Daniel shifted uncomfortably. Maybe we should all calm down. I laughed bitterly. Like when you went through my phone last Christmas? Or showed up at my job uninvited? I leaned in. You've wanted those letters for months. You think they prove your father was wronged in the Carver case? Don't you? Her mask cracked. I'm only protecting my son's interests. No, I said quietly. You're protecting your pride. You can't stand that Daniel married someone who doesn't bow to you, Scarlett sneered. Mother was right about you. Always hiding things. Those letters belong to our family. They're mine, I said, standing tall. And you know what's funny? Those weren't even the originals, just decoys. Meline's teacup rattled as she froze. The real ones are safe, where you'll never touch them. You're lying, she hissed. Am I? I asked, lifting my phone, thumb hovering over the record button. Guess you'll just have to wonder what else I've hidden. Then I turned to Daniel. His silence said everything. Are you coming home, I asked, or staying here? He looked between his mother and me, always torn. Maybe we just need some space, I said. Wrong answer. I turned toward the door but paused, glancing back at Meline. You started this, but I'm ending it. Her eyes locked onto mine, sharp, fierce, but beneath the fire I caught something new. Doubt. For the first time, she didn't look untouchable. Once in my car, I called Marcus. They took the bait, I said, keeping my voice steady even though adrenaline rushed through me. Meline basically admitted everything. How bad? He asked. Bad enough? But I need your help. That security system you set up at your cabin, the one with the hidden cameras, can you install it at my place? You sure about this, Natalie? I'm done playing defense. They want to come for me? Then we'll catch them in the act. Driving back to Seattle, Meline's mansion faded in my rearview mirror. I felt my grandmother's strength rise within me. She had faced people like Meline before and won, not with rage, but with strategy. I wasn't just defending some letters anymore. I was fighting for my life. The coffee shop across from Meline's favorite Portland salon wasn't my usual spot, but it gave me the perfect view of her world. I'd been sitting there for hours, pretending to read emails when Marcus appeared, sliding into the seat across from me and pushing a cup of coffee toward me. Cameras are live, he said. Motion sensors, night vision. Everything connects straight to your phone. You still sure about this? I nodded, eyes flicking toward the salon window. Meline and Scarlett sat under the bright lights, their manicures shining like armor. Listen, I whispered, pulling out my phone. I played the audio I'd recorded from the bug I'd slipped into Meline's purse during our argument. Her voice cut through, sharp and cold. We need those original letters. That safety deposit box has to be at her downtown bank. Then Scarlett's voice followed. Daniel says she's been checking their accounts, probably planning to divorce him and take everything. Over my dead body, Meline snapped. I didn't rebuild this family's name to let her destroy it. We'll go to her house tomorrow while she's at work. There has to be something we can use. I stopped the recording. Marcus's expression turned grim. Still think I'm paranoid? I asked. We should go to the police, he said. And tell them what? That my mother-in-law is plotting another break-in? They'll just call it a family issue. I wrapped my hands around the warm cup, grounding myself. I don't just want to stop them. I want them to pay for it. My phone buzzed. Daniel again. I hit decline. He's been at their place, I said quietly. Probably helping them figure out where the originals are. Or maybe he's worried about you, Marcus offered. Then he should have been worried before he gave them a key. The coffee turned bitter on my tongue. He'd chosen them again. Moments later, Meline and Scarlett stepped out of the salon, laughing, carefree. Meline's gaze lifted, finding me through the window. My breath froze. She knew I was watching. That smug smile I'd grown to despise curved across her lips. Time to go, I said, standing. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., their usual time. That's when we catch them. Marcus arched an eyebrow. I thought you wanted to do this alone. I did, I admitted, gathering my things, my hands trembling. But I can't face them alone anymore. I need someone beside me. Always, he said, touching my arm softly. Just promise me don't let this consume you. Revenge changes people. It's not revenge, I said, remembering Meline's icy words on my wedding day, her whisper that I'd never belong. It's justice. And maybe saving Daniel, even if he doesn't deserve it. Then my phone buzzed again, an unknown number. Found something in your grandmother's old law firm records. Tomorrow noon, Pioneer Courthouse Square. Come alone, or Daniel learns everything about the Carver case. My blood turned to ice. The Carver case, my grandmother's biggest regret. Meline's father had falsified business documents, and my grandmother exposed him, destroying his career. Meline had spent her life rebuilding that name, and now she was using that same history to destroy me. Nothing, I lied to Marcus with a shaky smile. Just work stuff. I need to prep for tomorrow. As I drove home, Meline's words from my wedding echoed in my head. You'll never be enough for this family. Tomorrow, I'd finally see just how far she'd go to prove it. Hours later, my laptop screen glowed in the dark as I sat parked across from my Seattle home. The security feed showed everything: front door, back door, even the garden path Meline always mocked. 10 minutes until their usual Thursday morning intrusion. Marcus sat beside me, calm as ever. "You don't have to watch," he said. "The cameras will get everything." "I need to see it," I said, gripping my coffee cup so tightly it shook. "I need to know exactly how they do it." Right on time, Meline's sleek Mercedes pulled up. She stepped out, perfect as always, Scarlett right behind her. Then a third door opened. Daniel. My cup crumpled in my hand. "He's helping them," I whispered. And then a fourth person stepped out, carrying a briefcase. "That's Victor Grant," Marcus murmured. "Meline's lawyer. I've seen him at her charity galas." Through the cameras, I watched them enter my house like they owned it, moving with eerie confidence. Switching views, I listened as their voices echoed through the hidden mics. "The study?" Meline ordered coldly. "Those Carver files have to be here." "Mother, she told me she gave them to me," Daniel stammered, his tone unsure. "Copies, obviously," Meline snapped. "You think your wife would give up her leverage?" "Search everything." My heart pounded as I watched them tear through my home again. Scarlett smirked while sweeping books from the shelves. Daniel's hands trembled as he opened drawers. Meline's mask of control was slipping, replaced by pure desperation. "The safe," Victor said suddenly. "Did you check behind it?" My breath caught. That wall safe was a decoy, something everyone knew about. But hidden behind it, unknown to them, was a secret compartment left by the house's previous owner. That's where I'd stashed the real evidence, years of documents exposing Meline's charity fraud. "There's nothing back there," Daniel blurted too quickly. Meline's eyes narrowed. "Move it, Daniel, now," his voice cracked. "No. What did you say?" Meline spun on him. I said no. "This ends now." "We're leaving." His voice grew stronger, but it was too late. I stepped into the doorway, breaking and entering. "Property damage." "Conspiracy," I said, holding up my phone. "All on video. They froze." Meline's expression turned unnervingly calm. "Perfect timing, dear," she said smoothly. "We were just discussing the Carver case." "You made one mistake, Meline," I replied, stepping closer. Marcus was right behind me. "You got desperate. The Carver case wasn't about your father's bad deal, was it? It was about what you did." Her smile faltered. "The real documents aren't behind that safe. They're with the district attorney, along with proof that you embezzled millions from your own charity." The room exploded. Meline lunged toward Victor. Scarlett screamed. Daniel stood frozen. But I kept my eyes locked on Meline, watching her perfect empire crack. "Sometimes justice isn't about destroying someone," I said quietly. "It's about letting them destroy themselves." Red and blue lights flashed through the windows as police flooded the house. Officers cuffed Meline as she screamed that she was the victim. Victor slipped out quietly. Scarlett cried about family loyalty, and Daniel just stared, pale, defeated. I'd won. But it didn't feel like victory. My home was wrecked, my marriage shattered, and my grandmother's letters were still missing. As I handed the detective my phone with the recording, I realized this wasn't the end. The courthouse hallway felt endless and cold. I sat on a wooden bench, watching Meline's society friends whisper as they waited for her arraignment. 3 weeks had passed since the break-in, yet they still couldn't believe their charity queen was facing embezzlement charges. Daniel appeared, dark circles under his eyes, Scarlett clinging to his arm. I stared at my phone, pretending to read. "Natalie, can we talk?" he asked softly. "The divorce papers are with your lawyer," I said flatly. "Just sign them." "That's not what He sat beside me. "Mother wants to make a deal. She'll give back your grandmother's letters if you drop the charges." A bitter laugh escaped me. "You still don't get it, do you?" "She's still your mother, and that's all that matters." Heads turned as my voice echoed down the hall. "She ruined our marriage, invaded my home, stole millions. Those aren't mistakes, Daniel. Those are choices." Before he could respond, the courthouse doors burst open. Marcus rushed in, breathless, holding a manila envelope. "Got it," he said, handing it to me. "Found it in Victor's office." Inside was a letter from Meline to her lawyer, dated before my wedding. "Insurance," I said, scanning the page. "In case I ever threatened her control over you." Meline entered just then, hands cuffed, eyes locking onto the letter. For the first time, fear crossed her face. "Where did you get that?" she hissed. "Your lawyer isn't as loyal as you thought," I replied, holding up the paper. "You planned everything, the harassment, the break-ins, to make me look unstable. But now everyone will see who you really are. You ungrateful!" She lunged at me, but officers restrained her. "Mother, stop!" Daniel shouted, stepping between us. "She never loved you like I do." Meline spat. "No," I said calmly. "I loved him enough to let him choose." "You loved him enough to make sure he never could." The whispers grew louder. Her high society friends watched their queen fall apart. Scarlett backed away, the truth finally sinking in. As the arraignment began, I handed the letter to the district attorney, then turned to Daniel. "I did love you," I said softly. "But love shouldn't hurt like this. Goodbye." I walked out, leaving Meline's empire in ruins. Outside, the Portland air bit against my skin. Marcus caught up. "You okay?" he asked. "No," I said, watching autumn leaves scatter across Pioneer Courthouse Square. "But I will be." My grandmother's words echoed in my heart. Sometimes winning means walking away. I had refused to play Meline's game. And that was my victory. Months later, the last box from my old life sat unopened in my new Seattle apartment. City lights glittered outside, far from the shadows I'd left behind. My phone buzzed, Marcus texting about Meline's sentencing, 5 years for embezzlement. Her reputation destroyed. Then, a knock. 3 quick taps, 1 slow, Daniel. He stood there holding my grandmother's letters. "Found them in Mother's study," he said quietly, offering them like a peace offering. "They were always yours." I took them gently, fingers tracing the worn leather. "How is she?" I asked. "Angry, bitter. Scarlett's in therapy, starting to see things differently. And me..." He glanced toward my easel, where a canvas shimmered with strokes of red and gold. "I'm learning to stand on my own." He handed me another envelope, signed divorce papers, and a newspaper clipping of a young Meline, desperate to prove herself among Portland's elite. "She was always afraid of being exposed," he said. "I'm not excusing her, but I understand now." "Understanding doesn't make it right," I replied. "I know," he said softly. "That's why you won." He turned to leave, pausing. "The painting, it's beautiful." When he was gone, I opened the letters. My grandmother's handwriting flowed across the pages. "Some people will try to dim your light because they fear their own darkness. Your strength is in shining anyway." I picked up my brush and added blue to the canvas. I hadn't wanted revenge, just freedom. My phone buzzed again. "Marcus, dinner invite." Not a date. Just a new beginning. The city lights reflected on my canvas, turning shadows into color. I wasn't the broken woman Meline tried to make me. I was Natalie, painting my own story. Finally free, and to everyone listening, thank you for being part of this journey. Remember, no matter how dark it gets, you have the power to walk away, to rebuild, to shine again.